All right, guys, welcome into the latest episode of the Starting 11 podcast. My name is Emilio Pena, and I've got Grant Rowland with me here today. Another exciting weekend of soccer. Last week we were talking about the Champions League and some of the fallout for some of the teams. And first off, I just wanted to talk about Bayern Munich because they weren't sure what was going to happen with them with the fallout following their loss to Manchester City. But here they are losing 3-1 to Mainz. And they were up 1-0 for like 70 minutes and then bam, 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 three goals out of nowhere. It's just not looking great for Thomas Tuchel and co. They brought him in to win, to keep them alive in the three competitions, and here they are out of two and, second place in the Bundesliga. So rough start. It's going to be interesting how it plays out. I wasn't sure what your thoughts were on the situation.
Yeah, well, after Bayern's dominance in the league, I think they've won the last 10. It'd be kind of nice to see someone else win the league, especially a team like Dortmund, who sign mostly like youngsters and kind of develop them and then send them off. Like it's a team that's like always changing, like new stars emerge, are there for like a year or two and gone. For developing all the talent in the world, I think Dortmund deserves a title every once in a while. But yeah, we talked about it on a previous podcast, how we thought the Tuchel reign was going to be. If the decision to fire Nagelsmann like at this period of the season, how that was going to affect them. And we talked a little bit about it off screen, off audio, off MP3 this weekend. But it's turning out, it's looking like we were right. Like it was kind of a harsh decision. It was a gamble. Adapting to new coaches' tactics is pretty difficult, not something that you just pick up, even with like a world-class coach like Tuchel. And then there was already some animosity in the locker room already, kind of going into that situation for Tuchel with Bayern's expectations. It's just a really difficult spot. And it wasn't like in previous years, like usually this point of the season, Bayern are like 9 to 12-ish points ahead of everybody. So there was no room for kind of error. And Dortmund looked really strong this weekend. I'm wondering if they kind of saw the score and was like, hey, this is our chance, boys. Like, we got to go. But yeah, I was curious what you think. Like, do you think it could potentially get bad enough at Bayern that like Tuchel could be gone early and they just go for a new coach
I don't think I could see them getting rid of him, without giving him a chance next season, just
yeah,
because, they got pressure on them right now, especially with
yeah,
the way that they handled the Nagelsmann situation. So if anything, I could see like maybe like Khan or one of these other guys in charge up top in the boardrooms getting fired, maybe similar to what you said about Dortmund. I think they saw the opportunity since they played a little bit later in the day. It's really their title race to lose now because they've had the same amount of games played. They have a 1 point lead, so as long as they keep winning, it's their title to lose.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I don't know. The only reason why I ask about Tuchel potentially being sacked is like Bayern's like ruthless, and
That's
I know for
true.
most teams, like what they lose on aggregate to City 4-1,
4-1, yeah.
4-1, like to Bayern standards, 3 goals. That's a pretty significant, like not a great start for Tuchel. That, to be fair, kind of knows City because being at Chelsea, but yeah, I agree. I don't see him doing it, but at the same time, with everything going on, I saw like a kind of leaked, rumored list of potential Bayern players that they're looking to shop in the summer. It's a pretty significant list, and yeah, who knows? But yeah, just with Bayern, like they used to be. Not saying like they used to be, like all of a sudden now they're just in panic mode and not well run. I mean, they're still Bayern Munich, but these last few months have been like very uncharacteristic of
Yeah.
a Bayern Munich team. But
It really has been Hollywood FC, so to speak.
yeah, for sure.
And transitioning though to the FA Cup, both Manchester teams got the dub this weekend, and we're gonna get the Manchester Derby in the final once the season wraps up, and we get to that. So
Mhm.
that'll be an interesting matchup. I think that Manchester City has the edge here just because of their raw talent and current form and everything, and they're still in all these different competitions still. So I think it's going to be a steep battle for Manchester United, but chance for Eric Ten Hag and co to get a second title this season. So Should be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And these little, I'm not gonna call it little because it's still kind of a decent trophy to win every year. I do like heavily root for underdogs in it because it's like their chance to win. So it would have been nice to see like a Sheffield or Brighton kind of go through and
Right.
potentially win it. But we get a Manchester Derby, so it'll be interesting. Even if I think that kind of raises the stakes even more. Bragging rights, even though again it's just like an FA Cup, like I don't know, you don't want to lose out a trophy to a rival in your city. So I'd expect pretty strong performances from or pretty strong squads too for both of them, even though they're still both fighting for the league. Manchester City fighting to win it, and United to be in that top four, trying to get as high as they can in those standings because that obviously affects where you are in Champions League. But yeah, I'm excited. I wish this was United of like a couple months ago when they were absolutely on fire because
Right.
City looked pretty unstoppable at the moment. So that would have been made it maybe a little more interesting. But yeah, like you said, I mean, another chance for United to get another trophy over under Ten Hag. Not like the biggest trophies they could have won this year, but trophies nonetheless. They haven't gotten many in the past, and if they do, that's just another good like building block on their way up to being like the Manchester United we kind of know and like the United of like historical like big club dominant of the time. So
I'm trying not to laugh, but like when you said top four, I just couldn't stop thinking about Tottenham and the result this weekend.
yeah,
And I think it's over for them as far as getting top four. It's also like hard not to laugh considering it's just you and I today and Morgan's not here. I saw that. I mean, obviously, I don't want to say obviously because if someone didn't watch the game, then they don't know. But the score was
yeah,
6-1, and it was 5-0, 21 minutes in. So very brutal game for Tottenham. They fired interim coach Christian Stellini today, so it was that bad that they fired two coaches in the span of a month.
yeah.
You said Manchester's top four hopes are, they're trying to build that lead, but now Newcastle's right there with them, tied, I think, 59 points. So, they got to hold off more than just Newcastle at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And we were talking about this weekend. Warning, like Morgan, you may want to skip ahead a minute or two. But yeah, I mean, this has been a super disappointing 2 weekends for Spurs. Not only like that 5-0 and within 20 minutes thing, but these were two vital weeks to get a jump ahead into that top four. Because Newcastle lost last week 3-0 to Villa. So that could have closed the gap with the Tottenham win. And then you're going head to head with them this week, and that's another chance to close
All right,
the
steal those
gap even
points.
more. So yeah, it's a 6 point swing and a crucial part of the season. Not a ton of games left, and then you go out there and absolutely just 5 goals in 20 minutes to a top Premier League side. I get Newcastle's good, but to me they're like solid defensively. They can score goals. They kind of but they were like the team that kind of grinded away wins this whole year, like some
Right.
1-2-1s. And yeah, they have talent like Alexander Isak up top, but this is still like Newcastle and the window didn't go crazy buying players. Like this is still just a solid Newcastle side. And to kind of let them do that to you again in such a crucial spot when like you can it's literally in 2 weeks could add a 6 point swing and you have some momentum going in. But looking back now, I know it's only been, I don't know what, like a month since Conte was sacked. We were
Ish.
talking about, yeah, ish. We were talking about like, are the Tottenham players, because obviously he went in that interview saying, I don't know, they just don't have that like grit to them, whatever. They don't care. They don't take accountability. Right now, like you had two options. You could have proved them right, which they're doing. They're just kind of sulking around, like kind of feeling bad for themselves when it's like this is substantial. It's like I can't underestimate the 6 point swing in 2 weeks. That's huge. Or you could have proved them wrong, but then that also kind of looked kind of bad. But who cares? Like maybe they just didn't like Conte. But yeah, they're proving them right now. And there are some big names in the manager list this year that could potentially be hired. And I don't know, it's just very uninspiring and making Tottenham not look like an attractive place to go right now. And from what I'm hearing from Morgan and what I'm seeing online, like some of the stars don't want to be there anymore. Some really loyal guys that have like stuck around with Tottenham, kind of going through it. Like this is just like whatever camelback, something that broke the camel's back. I don't know
Charles
what
broke the
the
camel's back.
child that broke the camel's back kind of thing. And yeah, very disappointed in Spurs. It's so hard because you want to tread lightly because like Morgan's our boy, but at this point it's just like I'm getting frustrated seeing
Yeah.
the Spurs team, that massive club that has been in Champions League finals, play like this. Like,
Yeah, and he said it before, similar phrasing. I don't know if this is exactly what he said, but I think it's time for Spurs just to turn the page and kind of start fresh and build a new era because, Harry Kane's obviously a club legend, but it's time for him to go to somewhere else and try and win some trophies while he still can, and time for Tottenham to get some value from him while they still can and just move forward because obviously it's not like the NFL where you can just draft a new player and build your
mm.
team around them, but it's time for them to find that new player who's going to be their leader and build around them, I think.
Well, I mean, the problem is like you can talk about these rebuilds all you want, but like you need to build like a culture there. Like the mentality right now in Tottenham, like again, like Morgan, you might want to skip ahead even more if you're at this point. Like the fact that the attitude is like, oh yeah, I want to sell Harry Kane, one of the greatest goal scorers right now, and like Son, because I want to see them win trophies somewhere else. Like, dog, how can that be your like if
Right.
someone that level once, like when Neymar left Barcelona, like not hoping like obviously any injury, but like I'm like, dude, I want PSG every year in the Champions League. I want them knocked out. I don't want him winning anything. Like I want to prove that like this is like the club to be at.
Right. You could one
The
here.
fact that yeah, your mentality to like I get he's like a Tottenham like through and through kind of player, whatever. But yeah, man, that's just the state of Spurs right now. I don't even know. Like I don't know if I could fix it in Football Manager if I was playing. Like it's rough out there.
Wow, it's a low bar considering your dominance in Football Manager, man.
Dude, the tactics are fire. I mean, I'm bringing Barcelona back financially. I'm doing it without spending a lot of money. So once I get my coaching badges in 25 years, Barcelona hit me up.
Speaking
Yeah.
of Barcelona, we got to talk about this Messi thing. What's this whole Messi in Barcelona, 15 suitcases? What's this all
So
about?
he, there's a lot going on here. So rumors came out that Messi was arriving in Barcelona. I think this was like Saturday or something. He arrived, went like through a back way through the airport, so he couldn't be seen, and he had like 15 suitcases with him. And then there was also leaks, rumors, whatever you want to call it, of a Messi signing his kids up for the same school they went to when obviously when he was playing in Barcelona. And then there's like kind of a mixed feeling on the reporter. I think it was Gerard Romeo. I don't know his name, but and there's a mix of like, yeah, he's pretty reliable for Barcelona. Some people are like, he's just some dude that like Twitch streams and talks news and any, I don't know, just that says whatever to get viewers. So I don't know. It seems around the soccer world like that is kind of confirmed. And I think he wants to come back. And Barcelona, I guess, submitted a plan for La Liga financially to see if they would approve it so they can sign Messi back. Cause like, look, it's Lionel Messi. Like with our financial situation, if we can agree with a plan on La Liga for finances, that benefits the league having Messi
Right.
in your league. But yeah, there's rumors that he's meeting with Xavi. He wants to see where Barcelona, what the like one of the main problems is like this whole financial burden that's going on with us. It feels like some weeks like we're good, maybe can't spend a bunch of money, but like we're financially like within the regulations to play in the Champions League and stuff. Some weeks it's not, and like we're in big trouble. So we'll see how that plays out. But it sounds like right now he's just kind of waiting to see what we do, kind of financially, what we're approved for, and if we're gonna like pass, I guess, all the requirements to make Champions League. So obviously, I think it is official. He doesn't want to sign with PSG. So I think right now it's Barcelona, and if we can't get it together, then probably off to like a Miami or something. So
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out because, like you said, Barcelona legend, greatest of all time. That's a big move for them, especially if
yeah.
they with them getting back in the Champions League and everything. So,
Yeah,
um,
we've been in the Champions League and we just can't get into that knockout stage. It's kind of haunted us. I think it's back-to-back years being sent to the Europa League, which is not great. But I don't know, we're taking
right,
steps forward on our way to win the league this year. Big step. Some players that maybe wouldn't have grown as much with Messi there because he's so dominant on the ball. You kind of feed him because he's magical. I've kind of grown because it's no longer like, oh, like, the pressure's on, give the ball to Messi, he's gonna make something happen. And more than likely he does. It's like, all right, like we gotta get it going. Like I gotta learn, we gotta
right.
make some moves. So debatably kind of a good thing. Messi's gone, lets young players kind of grow into roles. But Yeah, absolutely want him back. Can't take him. And I love that the Barcelona fans in the 10th minute are doing the Messi chant.
Well, one last thing before we go. Wrexham AFC promoted to the next division.
Yep.
Obviously, it's a feel-good story, not just for soccer fans, but just fans of Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney here in the
Yeah.
US. How far can Wrexham go?
Yeah, so this is a obviously very interesting, kind of inspiring story. But I was actually listening to Ben Foster's podcast today. Obviously, ex-Watford guy brought out of retirement because I think Wrexham's in goalkeeper got injured, and like he stepped in for the last I don't know how many games of the season, but end of the season, and he was talking with Mark Goldbridge, who runs like the United Stand, which is like a Manchester United fan channel, and Mark brought up a good point. He was like, yeah, like good for Wrexham, obviously, like big club, I think third oldest team in
Yeah.
the world, but he was like, honestly, with the money kind of going in that club, not in like a disrespectful way, like you should be out of the national leagues and into like the big leagues, League One. So he said it'll be interesting, and like the story kind of starts next year to see what they can do in League One. But I was looking at who got promoted last year in the National League that Wrexham was in, and they're up there on the table. I think they were like fighting for like that playoff spot or whatever. But Wrexham, I think they'll spend a year or two. I could see them winning League Two relatively easy, but League One championship is a whole other beast. There's more money going into it, more pressure, quality obviously way better. But Wrexham, I think, can go as far as they want to go. Like we talked about it
Mhm.
a little bit on the weekend, like the size of the club. I think they have like a 15,000 seating stadium, and there are some Premier League teams like Bournemouth who I think are like at 10 to 12. So like comparing size wise, like I don't think that's an issue. It's just
Always expand too.
yeah, I think it's really going to come down to it's going to be tough because like they have the documentary, like you like grow close to these players, these like fans that are getting in, but you do have to like up some quality. It's going to be tough seeing some of those players go, and I think they just really got to have a good like scouting department, football plan. It's the expectation shouldn't be like, oh, competing for trophies every year. Like what they've done is obviously great, but this isn't just like an overnight like 5 year thing. You're in a Premier League. Like it takes a lot of planning, a lot of hard work, like good scouting, player development, all that. But I think the sky's the limit because financially, like we've seen, like what Rob and Ryan have done for the club has exploded them massively, and it's nice to see like some attention on those lower league football teams because there's teams like that all over, like really local clubs, and all the fans like super passionate. So it's nice to see some attention on them for once and not all the big Premier League teams and stuff. So sky is the limit for Wrexham.
Absolutely. I think that's super well put. It'll be very interesting to see how this journey plays out because obviously Ryan Reynolds is a, Hollywood A-lister, and you saw a lot of his friends were there, like Paul Rudd and
Yeah.
some of the other people from like the Avengers and whatnot, and circle of people that they're all friends with. So, maybe Kim Kardashian will take her son there in a couple of weeks or, next season, and they can
Yeah.
go watch a game too, and it'll help
Right
them
there.
grow even more.
Yeah, I heard Drake's a big Wrexham fan, always has
Oh
been.
yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
he has since day one too.
Yeah.
With all that being said, I think that's going to do it for us this week, and we'll come back at you next week.